It is Thursday, August 21st, as we roll on in our NFL training camp tours. Tonight, the AFC East, a division that is defined by who's a good coach and who's a better coordinator as we go through the whole thing. And lots of stuff to talk about in the East, and a division that everybody will be paying attention to with close eyes because one of the Super Bowl favorites, the Buffalo Bills, reside in the East, a division that they have owned for the better part of the last 5 years, but we've got some questions, and as always, I'm coming locked and loaded. We're going back to a spread formation tonight. We've got all three of us in the booth. TJ will be here with us for a little bit tonight, and then next week we head north, young man, as we go to the NFC North and the AFC North. But plenty of stuff to talk about. Let's start with the man in the middle in the electric green shirt tonight. Vegas Mac, what is going on?
Much, man, oh man. We're getting to the end of these previews. You know what that means, boys? That means we're going to play some games that count.
Yeah,
that's what it means.
We're going to do that in the college side of things on Saturday. And don't forget, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock on the left coast, 1 o'clock on the right coast, our college football kickoff show, as we'll take you through our thoughts on the college football world this year. But again, the NFL tonight, and we are closing in. It is exactly 2 weeks from tonight. We will kick off the NFL season at the link, which I'm sure will be a drunken party. TJ, what's going on, brother?
You know, this is the part of the preseason that's the most frustrating because, like, there's still some battles that have to be won among these teams. But man, you just want to, especially with college coming up, kicking off this weekend, you just want to play games that count. You want to see hitting. You want to see the guys who we know are going to be out there. So let's just hope that everybody gets through this third preseason game healthy. Let's make sure that the teams get their decisions made. And I'm ready to watch. I'm ready to watch in 2 weeks, man. This is going to be great.
Yeah, we've almost made it there. And last year, as I mentioned off the top, the AFC East yet again dominated by the Buffalo Bills. 8-0 at home were the Bills en route to a 13-4 record. The next closest competitor in the division was the Dolphins at 8-9. The Jets were a shit show at 5-12, as were the Patriots. And we've got a lot of newcomers in this division, guys. Whether it be coaches coming back to where they played, whether it be coordinators coming back to the only place that they've been successful, newcomers all around. And that's always one of the exciting things about a new season. And let's look at some of the newcomers in the division. I'll get started here. The fourth overall pick, it's a simple one for me. Will Campbell for the Patriots. New England needed to have a long-term answer at left tackle. They're hoping that Campbell is going to be that guy. I think there's a lot of pressure on him. A lot of people expecting Drake May to take that leap this year. We'll get to that in a second. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit there because, as we know, C.J. Stroud from year one to year two, he had a little bit of that sophomore slump, and I think we need to keep that in context. But I'm really excited to see how Campbell fits on that offensive line for New England. You know they're going to play a physical, smash-mouth brand of football with Vrabel there, and obviously the offensive acumen of Josh McDaniels. So I'm really excited to see how Campbell transitions to his first year in the NFL. Matt, give me one of your newcomers in the division that you're excited to see.
Well, I'm hoping that we see him, and that's Ollie Gordon with the Dolphins. And my thinking is this. I mean, he had a tremendous junior year. His last year, it just was terrible, and we know that. But here's the thing about Miami. We know offensively that they're very, very creative, and physically, Gordon is a beast. He really is. I want to see if they find a way to use him in the Miami Dolphins way. I don't know if they will, but I just when he got drafted by Miami, I'm like, I thought that was a great place for him to go.
Hey, give me one of your newcomers.
Well, I'm going to once again take the low-hanging fruit here, and I'm going with Justin Fields for the Jets. Look, this team has been trying to find a quarterback for so long. We've saw what happened the last 2 years. What just a disaster. And I wasn't too high on this signing when it first happened, but the more I thought about it, the more I think this is actually a really good move for the Jets. It's a young guy. He's got a track record of some modest success, and he can come into a situation with some really good skill players and make a difference on this offense for the Jets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on the Jets this year, a lot of changes with the Jets naming most notably. Man, I'm going to struggle speaking functional English tonight, apparently. Most notably, head coach Aaron Glenn. Another newcomer I've got my eyes on. I think this guy, very under the radar, is going to play a massive role for Buffalo this year. And that's Joshua Palmer, the former Charger. I think a lot of people forget he's only 25 years old, and they signed him for $36 million. He's going to kind of fill that Z receiver role for them. Palmer's a very, very underrated receiver, and I think everybody's expecting breakout out of Keon Coleman. And when you have the MVP slinging the rock around, that's very easy to kind of think that way. But I think Palmer, very under the radar, is going to pay huge dividends for the Bills this season. So I'm really excited to see him and how he integrates himself into the offense. Give me another one, Mac.
I'm staying in Miami, and I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm just going backup quarterbacks, whether it's Zach Wilson, whoever, because listen, we know what happens in Miami with their starting quarterback. There's a tendency that he gets hurt. Unfortunately, all the concussions that Tua has had. And so for Miami, a really important position for them is that backup quarterback. They got Quinn Ewers there as well. So it'd be interesting to see. Again, I hope Tua plays every single game, but history says that he won't. And that makes the most important player on that Miami Dolphins team the backup quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a tremendous point. T, give me your other newcomer in the division you're excited to see.
I'm going to go with Mike Vrabel, the old face in an old place, if you will. He's coming in. He's coming back home. Last year, the Patriots went in-house for their coach. It was not a good move, but Vrabel was modestly successful in Tennessee. So I really like this move, though, and the staff that he has assembled is pretty dang good.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the emphasis point there of the staff, speaking of old faces in old places, Josh McDaniels, as I mentioned, and interested to see how that helps the progression of Drake May. Let's look at these position groups as we go through the division, and I don't think there's any debate about it. Your best quarterback grouping in the division. And again, we're looking at the whole picture here, as Mac just alluded to with Zach Wilson, not just the starting quarterbacks. The emphasis on having a good, competent backup quarterback in the NFL is higher than it's ever been. I mentioned the other day when we were talking about this that I love Mitchell Trubisky as a backup for Josh Allen. I think he fits the system perfectly. So for me, it's Buffalo and Miami. And then I've got New England and the Jets both in the same spot. Again, I think we need to pump the brakes on Drake May here. Josh McDaniels' offense, I'm sure he's going to taper it down for him. But again, this is a second-year quarterback, and there's all kinds of excitement in New England with Vrabel there, and there should be. And I think it's the same thing with Justin Fields. Both of these guys are extremely talented, but we need to kind of pump the brakes and let everything play its way out. So that's how I look at the quarterbacks as far as this division goes. Mac?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's a lot of interesting names in New York. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, you go down the list of names, that they have, Justin Fields. I don't know. I like Justin Fields. I thought last year in Pittsburgh, he got a bad shake. I really do. I mean, he didn't lose last year. I mean, he was undefeated. And then he got hurt and then never was able to get back. So I don't know. I kind of like Justin Fields. I think he gets kind of a bad rap. I think he's going to be okay for the Jets. And yeah, I mean, again, we know with young quarterbacks, it's going to be a wait and kind of see. But without a doubt, I mean, the Buffalo Bills, number one quarterback, like you said, maybe even in the league with Josh Allen. I mean, he's that good. I think last year he knew he needed to not run as much. I mean, he knows. I mean, if we're going to be successful, he's got to be on the field running when he needs to. I think he did a good job with that. I think it was a good progression in his career. So, again, how can you not like a Josh Allen on your team?
Love watching Josh Allen play. That guy is nails. I think you nailed it, though. I think it's Buffalo and Miami, and then the other two teams are just kind of it's a wait and see, right? You got Drake May, who's got to make that jump from rookie to, taking charge of the team. And then you got Justin Fields, who I hope has a better year than overrated Caleb.
Of course you do. I knew that one was coming. Feel free to comment along if you're a fan of the AFC East. If you're an AFC East hater, we welcome that as well. If you're watching along, we appreciate you all as we go through the AFC East here. When we look at the running backs, guys, I think this division's pretty well balanced in the running back tandems. I would say Miami's probably the team I would put last. Achan's good when he's on the field, but if he can stay on the field is the question. I am intrigued, as Mac is, with Ollie Gordon. But when I look at Buffalo, the Jets, and the Patriots, the pairings in each of these spots I really, really like. Davis and Cook in Buffalo are fantastic. Hall and Allen, a lot of fun to watch with the Jets. I'm really intrigued to see what Josh McDaniels does with Travion Henderson backing up Ramondre Stevenson in New England. So I think there's really good balance here all the way through. I would put Miami significantly last because I don't know how much we can count on Achan to stay on the field, Mac.
I mean, that's a big question. I agree, though. I think Buffalo, without a doubt, is my number one running back group in this section. I mean, again, the things that we saw James Cook do last year, was really good. Leading the league and rushing touchdowns. New contract, so hopefully he'll be really inspired in there. And they've got good, reliable, and that's the thing, good, reliable guys to back him up, and Davis and Johnson, guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield, and that's exactly what they want with Josh Allen. I think Miami and the Jets are about even. I don't really see a huge discrepancy in there. I would put New England last, but again, if Henderson continues, he's had an amazing preseason. I know it's preseason, but that's that. But if he continues to trend the way he's going, New England could be number 2 in this division from a running standpoint easily.
Dave?
Yeah, I really like Breece Hall. I think he has the potential to be a great back. And I'm trying to, I know that he took a little dip in the yards last year compared to 23, but I don't know how much of that was exactly his fault, because that team was such a dumpster fire that it's almost like you have to give him a pass for that. I really like the talent that Hall has. He hits the hole hard. He is fast. He is shifty. He is good out of the backfield. He had 57 receptions last year. So just another weapon for Fields if he has to use him as a check down. But I want to save my comments about McDaniels for a little later.
Let's look at the wide receiver group and the tight ends here, and again, I think every team's got pretty decent balance. I'm very bullish on what Buffalo has put together here. I love Khalil Shakir, Elijah Moore also there, and again, when you got 2 tight ends like Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, when you look at the depth that Buffalo has, I think it's really good. Miami, intriguing is always the thing, but as T mentioned in his video this morning, Tyreek Hill's always kind of a wild card there. And then you got Jalen Waddle. A guy that also flew under the radar, I think, in this division is Nick Westbrook-Akine. And he's going to be another weapon for Miami and Mike McDaniels, who is another day closer to death. I can't stop laughing about that. If you saw the press conference, you know what we're talking about here. New England, I'm interested to see what happens. Kyle Williams comes in. I think he's going to be a big factor for them. And you've got, obviously, Stephon Diggs. That's the veteran presence there for Drake May. But I think that Tennessee and what they did around Cam Ward, the veteran receivers that they have, was a little better served for a young quarterback in Cam Ward than what New England did. So I'm kind of up in the air when it comes to New England. What do you think of the wide receivers and tight ends, Mac?
I like Miami. I think Hill is ready for another really good season. Health is always the issue. Buffalo, what I like about them is they're diverse. There's not like a great receiver there, but they had like 8 guys last year that had over 30 targets. That's spreading the ball out. And I think there's a lot to say that. I love Dalton Kincaid. He is really, really good. He's fun to watch. just their numbers aren't as great, and I think that's just because Josh Allen spreads the ball out so well. So like nobody gets a really high individual rating because he has so many receivers that he uses. I mean, it's typical. I mean, that's the way Buffalo kind of works it. I mean, that's just the way they are. As far as the Jets and the Patriots, I don't really see a whole lot there, and I don't know if I don't like the Jets just because I don't like all of their quarterbacks. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with their quarterbacks and how that's all going to work. Um, so we'll have to wait and see. Stephon Diggs in New England is already made himself known, not probably the way he wants to, but he's made himself known in New England. Um, I don't really like much of the Patriots receiving core this year. I think that's Vrabel's going to build with discipline. He's going to build with defense. I think next year they'll add some pieces offensively. I think offensively this team is going to struggle.
T.
How can you say that about the great Mac Hollins? What are you talking about? These Patriot receivers. Definitely wild cards, though. I think they're wild cards with Diggs. I like the idea of what they're trying to do, but I don't know how the execution is going to work. I like Hunter Henry. He's pretty good. The Jets are trying to build around Garrett Wilson, but other than that, how much at this point are you going to expect Alan Lazard? I'm really bullish on the Dolphins. I like Jalen Waddle a lot. The question is, can he stay and play 17 games? Because when he plays 17 games, he's outstanding. Now, last year, you're going to take your lumps going from Tua to Die Hard to Tyler Huntley, but it's, if he can get a full year out of Tua, this is going to be a great year for Waddle. So I'm big on the Dolphins this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the Dolphins are definitely the most intriguing team in the division. They have the horses. Do they have enough of the horses? And speaking of those horses, when we look at the offensive line groups, for me, this is a no-doubter. Like Buffalo, when you go across that line with Dawkins, Edwards, McGovern, Torrance, and Brown, I mean, that's as good as it gets. And there's a reason Buffalo's had the success that they've had because they've been able to protect Josh Allen. When I look at the other three teams in this division, though, guys, I think the most important position group in all of the NFL is the offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. And I've got a lot of questions there. I've already talked a little bit about the Patriots offensive line. I think they have the potential to be good, especially with Campbell and Moses at the tackle positions there. And the Jets, I mean, we know part of the problem with the Jets last year is their offensive line was atrocious. And I think they have okay depth, but I have a lot of questions, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, the stat for Buffalo that just blows my mind is 673 attempts, just 6 sacks, like you said. I mean, and part of that is Josh Allen. I mean, he's hard to bring down sometimes, but I mean, that's just amazing. So without a doubt, Buffalo. I like the Jets offensive line. I know they're young. I think they're going to be good. I like the direction that the Jets are going. I mean, not a playoff team this year, obviously, but I like the direction that Aaron Glenn is taking this organization. I think he's building it with a good, I think a good young offensive line. They're gonna again. We know the model that he's using. He's using the model of the Detroit Lions. Let's just be honest. And we know for the Lions, when Campbell got there his first year, he didn't have great success. Glenn's might not have great success here, but then after that, he's had really good success. I think we're going to see the same thing with the Jets in the future.
They're still the Jets.
They're already like jetting, if you will. Can we include Hunter Henry in the offensive line? Because then that jumps the Patriots for me up a slot. But it's only from 4th to 3rd.
You can do whatever you want, man.
The Jets, yeah. Look, I'm with you, Mike. The Buffalo Bills, hands down. And yes, it does help to have a quarterback as mobile and as quick out of the pocket as Josh Allen, because he does save a lot of those plays from being sacks. I completely agree there. But, man, Miami's got to get it together this year on the offensive line. They have to protect Tua on his blind. They just have to. I agree with you. This is a very a lot of pressure for this group to be under.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's flip over to the defensive side of the football here. When we look at the defensive line groupings, again, this is another spot where I really love Buffalo with Russo, Oliver, Jones, and the addition of Joey Bosa. And we know Bosa's had some injury issues, but the reason I love the Bills group the most here is the depth. AJ Epinesa, a very underrated player for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have one of my favorite linebackers in the entire league. We'll get to those groupings in a second. Obviously, the Jets with Quinn and Williams are going to make some noise up front. I don't know how much confidence I have in the rest of the guys. This, I think, is probably the biggest spot I see for the Patriots that makes me concerned. I don't love their D-line either. And I think Miami is going to need to expect a lot out of Chop Robinson this year to kind of beef up that group. And you saw them go out the other day and sign Matthew Judon to add to some depth. There's a veteran presence there for them. But again, I think Buffalo clearly has an advantage on the D-line in this division, Mac.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Patriots, the interior part of their line isn't all that bad. It's kind of their outside guys, I think, where they struggle a little bit, and that's going to be something they're going to have to work on. Without a doubt, Buffalo is my number one pick. Miami, I like. I was going to say I like the Jets as well. The Jets are I think, quite honestly, they could be. I don't know. Did I say the Jets? I'm sorry. I was looking at a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. I said the Jets and being good. That's not what I meant. I was talking about the Patriots. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, get it together. The Patriots, I like their, like I said, their interior guys, their outside guys are not there. Vrabel is a defensive guy. We know that. And because of that, I just think they're going to be better. As far as the Jets go, because I started talking about them, I don't like the defensive line of the Jets at all. There's just, I mean, that's a spot that they need to work on, without a doubt. Towards the bottom of the list in the NFL with their rankings, they didn't get any better. That's going to be a problem for the Jets.
Yeah, I like Williams and Johnson, though. And you got to remember, too, that the Jets were not great on offense. And so that defense spent a ton of time on the field. And there's only so much you can do when you're 30 plays on the field more than the average defense. That's just, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. So I like what the Jets have. I like what the Bills have as well. I think this addition of Bosa is great because it's like a low risk, high reward signing. You know, he's been cast off out of, I almost said it again. Dang it. I almost owe him another $1. He was cast out from the Chargers. And so there's no like real pressure on if he gives you anything close to half of what he's given you in the past, it's a great signing for Buffalo. So I like what Buffalo did. And yeah, Epinesa, watching him when they played the Rams last year, he was all over the place. He's great.
Yeah, all over the place for sure. Another place that I think Buffalo has a distinct advantage is at the linebacking spot. One of my favorite linebackers in the entire NFL. And this guy, I don't think people that don't pay enough attention to the Bills understand his importance to the Bills, and that's Matt Milano. And when you look at Milano and Bernard and Williams there, and then they also have Shaq Thompson, Joe Andreessen, I think they have good depth. The rest of this division, guys, like I don't love, and you know how I am with linebackers. It's kind of like my football fetish, if you will. This division doesn't really have a lot of great linebackers in it. There's serviceable guys that are solid players, but again, I think it's another massive advantage for Buffalo in the group that they have and the guys that they have behind their starting group. And that's the thing is if Matt Milano can't stay on the field, we saw when he was off the field how much it affected Buffalo's defense. So for me, it's Buffalo, and then I've got 3 question marks, Mac.
I love the New England Patriots linebackers. Part of it could be because their head coach is a linebacker, and I think he's going to make sure he takes care of those. Robert Spillane coming over, I think, is going to be really good for the Patriots. I think that's a great spot for them. I actually thought the Patriots linebackers were probably the strongest part of their defense last year. I think it's going to be the strongest part this year, and I really think they're pretty good. Again, the back half of the Patriots defense is actually really good and really serviceable, and that's gonna make them pretty effective. When the middle and back half of your defense is that effective, you're going to win some games because your defense is going to keep you in it. And, of course, offensively, we know how much they're going to be great with their offensive coordinator.
Go ahead, T.
Teed it up.
Okay, I'm gonna get out of the way right now. Even though we're talking about the linebackers, I'm gonna say it. Josh McDaniels is a god-awful head coach, but that guy is a great offensive coordinator, and that cannot be denied. And so he goes back to New England where he's had success. It's like, why do you keep trying to be a head coach somewhere else when you have arguably one of the best gigs? Like, the only person that ends the gigs is him. Just stay there. You know what you're doing, know your lane, and do this. So I can't say anything bad about him as an offensive coordinator, but dude, that dude stinks in charge. The Patriots fans are gonna love Robert Spillane. That guy was so good for the Raiders defense. He went to the Raiders and just improved his game so much. I'm glad he got his bag. I'm glad he's there. But yeah, Buffalo by far the better linebackers. Then I've got New England, and then the rest.
Yeah, the one spot, guys, as we look at the secondary here, and feel free to comment along if you're watching along with us. The one spot I think Buffalo doesn't have a distinct advantage, and I think I would be concerned if I was a Bills fan, is with the secondary. I mean, they've got Tre'Davious White and Taylor Rapp and Taron Johnson there, Christian Benford, but the secondary makes me very, very nervous. And as a whole, I think the AFC East, the secondaries are not great. You've got some premier players in the secondaries in the AFC East. Christian Gonzalez, Sauce Gardner. I think the addition of Minkah Fitzpatrick for the Dolphins will definitely help them. All name team entry out of the AFC East. Storm Duck in Miami. But I think if I had to give somebody the edge here for the best secondary in the East, I'd probably go with the Patriots, not only because of Christian Gonzalez, but with Kyle Ducker and Jabril Peppers. But I think as a whole, this division secondaries have a lot of questions all the way across the board, Mac.
I love I told you the second half, the second part of their defense is great. I love Gonzalez back there. I mean, he is a budding star. I mean, he's really, really good. I love the Patriots secondary. I think the Jets secondary is good as well. I mean, I think it's in the top half of the NFL. And so I actually think those two teams, their secondary is pretty good. I'm a little concerned about the Miami Dolphins. That's a team just from a defensive standpoint overall. I am really concerned. I'm getting Cincinnati Bengal vibes, defensive vibes with this Miami Dolphins defense.
You know, the whole thing, here's what I'm hearing so far is I'm hearing when we talk about the Miami Dolphins, question marks, question marks, question marks, question marks. And you're totally right. I love that they reacquired Fitzpatrick, but yeah, like this whole team, the Dolphins are a giant bunch of, who knows, right? If this, then that. Love Sauce Gardner. He's great defender. The Bills, and you talk about the Bills when they added Taylor Rapp last year. And it's like this team is so good and they dominate so many games that you wonder if it's just like, okay, well, we're up by 3 touchdowns, so let's take the pedal off a little bit, and that's a little bit concerning. But yeah, these secondaries for the quarterbacks that have the potential of the quarterbacks here, these secondaries aren't very good.
Yeah, and it's kind of deceptive, T. And when we look at it from like a betting standpoint, you go, hey, you go, hey, like you would think there'd be a lot of high scoring games, but then you got to factor the late season weather into this division, which has a lot to do with why we wouldn't. I think if these teams were all like out west, for example, I think you could make a freaking killing and have a field day on overs in this division, because that's how concerned I am with the secondaries.
I'm going to try.
Yeah,
I'm going to try.
Get them in early, though. You got to get them in early before it's minus 7,000 degrees in December in Buffalo. Don't I know that well from that 49ers disaster last year? Let's look at the coaches in this division. And I think there's some interesting questions all the way across the board. I said it last year, and I still have this, and this is my one thing with the Bills. And it's not all on the head coach, but there's got to be a fall guy. It usually is the head coach. And I do kind of agree with something that you said this morning, T. So I'll go to you first here. Has Buffalo reached their ceiling with Sean McDermott? And I think that's a great question. I would still give him the edge as the best head coach in this division. But with the addition of Mike Vrabel, I think there's somebody right on his heels there if you wanted to rank him that way. I'm very interested to see what Aaron Glenn does in New York. The Jets are the Jets, but is Aaron Glenn the Aaron, as you referenced, that takes him over the top? And here's my thing with Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel is an outstanding coordinator. He is creative as all hell. He's a part of the Shanahan family tree. And if he doesn't win a playoff game this year, then you can really reunite the whole band in San Francisco next year because they've already got Robert Saleh back, who came from the East. And then Mike McDaniel will probably be the next one to follow. So I think McDaniel is coaching for his job. Absolutely. I would put him as last as a head coach in this division, even behind Aaron Glenn, who we've never seen as a head coach. But I really do kind of believe, T, that Aaron Glenn has it. But then there's Sean McDermott, and there's questions.
I put Sean McDermott. I actually put Sean McDermott third, and the reason why I put McDermott third is this whole: have they reached the highest that he can take them? Because it's
Can you take me? Sorry.
Oh my gosh, that was so good.
Not to throw you off your game or anything.
But it's just it literally is flame out after flame out after flame out. It's the overtime thing. It's losing to the Bengals badly. It's another heartbreaking loss to the Chiefs. Oh, we're going to get them at home. Okay, well, you lost to them at home too, so that obviously didn't matter. And it's frustrating it's got to be frustrating for Bills fans because you have one of the top two most talented teams in the AFC. There should be no reason that you should not be in the championship game for the league every year. And this team just stubs their toe in some fashion and can't do it. And there's got to be a point where the Pagulas just go, look, we're opening up a $2 billion stadium. This guy might not be the guy to open it.
That would require the Pagulas to get off their super yacht and make a decision, and I don't think they're very interested in doing that right now. Mac, I know you're going to have some interesting rankings as far as the coaches go in this division. Lay them on me.
Well, listen, you win. I mean, and that's all there is, right? I mean, they're winning. I mean, you're getting one game from the Super Bowl. I mean, you're going to bring in another coach. Is that coach going to be able to do and duplicate that? I mean, that's what you have to ask. I mean, hell, that's what they ask in Pittsburgh, right? All the time. But I mean, this is exactly what, you bring in another coach. Maybe you don't. Maybe it doesn't work out. The Miami situation. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like you expect them to be better come playoff time, and they're just not. But my thing is with Mike Vrabel. Look what he did with just absolute dog poop in Tennessee. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, he coaches guys up. I mean, it's one of those things, and the fact that he's in essence kind of back home in New England. I think the fans love him. That we know in New England that goes a long way. You get the fan support. That makes a huge difference. And so I think he's going to be great. As far as Aaron Glenn, I mean, we just have to wait and see. Mm-hmm. T, you said it, like with McDaniel. You can be an amazing coordinator, but when the headphones are on and everyone's asking you what to do next, and you've got to make those decisions, we've all been there. It's a whole lot harder when you're the head guy and you got to make those decisions. And so, we'll have to wait and see. Like you said, I hope it works out for him, but we don't know until until something bad happens or something good happens.
And it's like you got Todd Bowles, who's not excellent. You have Radio Raheem. You have like Josh McDaniels. The list of great coordinators who are not great head coaches is long and distinguished. And it's frustrating that teams go back to this well of great coordinators that aren't good coaches so often, when you could give somebody like an Aaron Glenn. Look, and it's a double-edged sword, right? A coach needs a job to get experience, but you can't get experience unless you have the job. So, Johnson in Chicago and Glenn in New York, these are going to be interesting cases because they're coming from a tree of success. But let's see what happens. Yeah, I agree with you. It is a crapshoot here. But I get frustrated with the whole coordinator, head coach carousel. It's just very frustrating.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this here then, since we've got a little bit of time here, and I, again, as Billy V checked in and said, again, if you remove Sean McDermott, who are you going to replace him with? How does that affect your superstar, your franchise cornerstone in Josh Allen? The coordinator, head coach thing we talked about it on Tuesday's show. Mac and I did with Cliff Kingsbury. So let me see where you guys are at, and I'll start with radioactive Mac in the center there. Where would you put Robert Saleh on that list? Did he get a fair shake in New York with the Jets? Was a lot of that his fault? Because we saw how bad the defense got after he left, and now he's back in San Francisco where he was the hottest thing going. And I think that defense is going to be the best defense in the league again because he's back there. Where would you put Robert Saleh around the room, starting with Mac?
I mean, it didn't work out. I mean, the bottom line is those big decisions come down to you. I mean, whether it's offense or defensive, I mean, those decisions are from the head coach. And so he didn't have success, so it didn't work out for him. So I have to right now put him in the category of great coordinator, not such a great head coach. Now, we've all said, listen, one of the greatest coaches of all times, Bill Belichick. We know he had a bad start, right? I mean, his career did not start off with very many wins in very many places, and with some, with bad teams. We know that. And it finally took the right situation for him to have success. For Saleh, maybe that's it. He needs to be now in another situation and see how it goes. And like you said, if that doesn't work, then then we can probably really put him in that category. But I think guys should get a second shot at it. But for right now, great coordinator, not a good head coach after what we saw.
By the way, fuck Jose Altuve. Sorry. Little cheating son of a bitch. I didn't need a second homer today out of you. Go ahead, T.
I couldn't find my trash can. I thought Saleh got a raw deal. There was so much drama going on with who's going to be the quarterback, who's he going to throw to, that I don't think he had a chance to succeed from the jump. I think he was just in a bad spot. If he was on this list of coaches in this division, I'd put him third. I'd put him I put him fourth. I put him right behind McDermott and right ahead of Glenn. But it's just because of, okay, you didn't have success at the head coaching level. But once again, you can't get success if you don't have the job. You can't get the job sometimes if you don't have it's just such a circle. I'm expecting big things out of Saleh this year, though. I really am.
Don't you know that going in? I mean, you're interviewing with the New York Jets. I mean, you have to know that going in, right? I mean, just like, this past year, taking the job in Jacksonville. I mean, you have to know the situation going into these places, all these new coaches. I mean, here's the thing. Glenn has to know the situation going in with the Jets. And it seems, at least early on, that, let's use Vrabel. I mean, he went in there and just kind of cleared house with the Patriots and said, listen, what happened these last couple of years, it's not the Patriots way. I know. I was here. I know what the Patriots way is. Mm-hmm. And he's cleared house and said, this is the way it's going to be. And so, that's part of it.
But it's also ego, right? Like Aaron Glenn was there when the Jets were making that run, all those runs to the AFC title game in the late 90s. So Aaron Glenn knows I guess if you want to call it good times for the Jets, but I mean, they were successful, right? And they were making the runs. So, he's got to think that, hey, I can be the guy here. I just need to get, like you said, Vrabel's going to be the guy in New England because he can get back to the Patriots way. And Aaron Glenn must think that he can bring the Jets back to late 90s success because, I mean, let's face it, since the late 90s, there is not.
I'm asking for a friend here. Was the good times for the Jets, was that actually in color, or were we still on black and white when the Jets had good times? And listen, I'm happy that the Jets are a shit show because from a personal fandom standpoint, I got my guy back in San Francisco in Bobby Saleh. So and I think the flip side of that is all it takes is one guy, as nobody cares about UConn fucking soccer. God damn it.
Wrong football.
Yeah, that too. It only takes one guy, and I'll use a personal example, Kyle Shanahan. Now, fake 49er fans want Kyle Shanahan fired, and I would ask you, do you want to go back to what the hell we had before that? Your answer is no, so let's keep going down this road. Dan Campbell is a perfect example because when Mac just mentioned, you know what you're getting into when you interview at these places, and it takes the ego guy. It takes the no bullshit guy like a Dan Campbell to push a team over that hump. So maybe Aaron Glenn, having played there, is the guy. Obviously, a lot of us expect Mike Vrabel to be the guy. I think in Buffalo's situation, if you were to circle it back to Sean McDermott, how we got down this whole rabbit hole here, what are you going to do? Who the hell are you going to bring in?
That's a valid question, right? Because who and once you open up that Pandora's box, I mean, is Josh Allen going to pick the next coach? If he is, he might as well make all the other personnel decisions too. Now he's a GM too. Like,
if you're smart, Josh Allen picks the next head coach.
I mean,
Mac, I'll give you the final word. Sorry, T. I'll give Mac the final word here so we can get this train back on the tracks.
My bad.
I was just going to say, I mean,
it's all good.
It's the same thing in Pittsburgh. I mean, the Steelers fans, get frustrated because, every year we hear, Mike Tomlin's, hasn't had a losing season in 50 seasons, but, we still haven't won a Super Bowl in 49 of them. So, I mean, it's the same thing. It's kind of like if you take Mike Tomlin out, who do you replace him with, and does it get better? I mean, maybe it does. We don't know, but I mean, it's a risk with those veteran coaches like that. It's a huge risk.
Yeah, it's absolutely a big risk, and it's like, I mean, again, in Buffalo, like, what are you going to do? Bring in Bruce Smith or Thurman Thomas? Like, no, you're not going to do that. So we will see. And I think in Buffalo, I think you could say the same case in San Francisco. Like, I think the next most logical thought would be Joe Brady and Robert Saleh go to be head coaches in their respective, positions that they're in. That would be the most sensible thing to do. Let's get to scheduling stuff here. Because as we know, everybody's schedule is laid out the way it is, and you got to play the games that are on paper. Again, all of you that are going to throw at me, well, look at the 49ers schedule. It sucks this year. You got to play the games that are on your schedule. I think there's an interesting stretch in everybody's schedule that you can look at ahead of time, not predicting a team's record in friggin' May when it comes out. But when I looked across the schedules in this division, one thing that clearly stood out to me, I'll circle back to because I don't want to step on toes here for where TJ's going to go. But for me, getting all choked up talking about coaches here. For me, it's the Patriots from week 5 to 8. They're at Buffalo, and then they're at New Orleans, at Tennessee, and home for Cleveland. And I think if the Patriots are going to be this surprise team that's going to, make the playoffs and push the Bills, well, there's your stretch of the schedule that you really got to make some hay on. Those are winnable games at New Orleans, at Tennessee, winnable game against Cleveland, even if they roll out their 77 quarterback starting lineup there. Every game in there is winnable, except for maybe the Buffalo game on paper. And that game, if I remember correctly, where is it? It is a It's on October 5th. It's an 8:20 kick, so it's either a Monday night or a Sunday night game. I don't have my calendar in front of me. Sunday. Yeah. So I think that's the stretch of the schedule if you're the Patriots where you're going, hey, if we get through this thing 4-0, great. If we get through it worse than 3-1, those are missed opportunities there. So that's the scheduling stretch for me that stood out amongst this division. Mac, what did you see when you were looking at schedules in the East?
I'm going to take a look at the Jets, and I'm going to start in week number 5. They have a stretch week 5, 6, and 7, 3 home games against Dallas, against Denver, against Carolina. Then I'm going to just extend it just a little bit more. Then the fourth in that week 8, they go to Cincinnati. So you have 3 home games in a row, a week at Cincinnati, then a bye week, and then another home game against Cleveland. So realistically, I mean, 3 or 4, there's 3 winnable games in there. I mean, Dallas, Carolina, and probably Cleveland. We'll say Denver and Cincinnati kind of, toss-ups in there. But again, that's a part of the schedule. If the Jets, have 3 or 4 of 5 games in a row at home, plus a bye week, that's a good time to get some wins, get well rested, and kind of go from there. It's a good spot for them.
T, I know you're going to go somewhere that I'm going to circle back to, so give me the schedule stretch that stood out to you.
I'm literally going to circle back to it. The Bills right after the halfway point, week 9, home for Kansas City. Is this the year? Is this the week? Is this the week? Home for Kansas City, then at Miami, home for Tampa Bay, at Houston on Thursday Night Football, and then at Pittsburgh week 13. So those are 5 teams there that I don't think anybody would be surprised if they all showed up back in the playoffs again. And if you are the Buffalo Bills and you are not 7-1 before that Kansas City game, then this is going to be tough to make some distance between you and second place in this division, unless second place is 1-7.
Yeah, and I'll circle back to this because we were talking about this before we started the show. I fully expect and think Buffalo is going into that Kansas City game 7-0. They do have a bye week in between their game at Atlanta and their game out of the bye week at Carolina. Obviously, they play Baltimore to start the season. That's going to be a tough one, but it is in Buffalo. So I very much foresee a situation where Buffalo goes into that game 7-0. And then when they come out of that, as you just mentioned, they've got that stretch of playoff teams. They do have the game that we referenced the other day in talking about the NFC East against Philadelphia, but that is also in Buffalo. So that's the only spot on the Bills' schedule that impacts their win total, which is something we will get to here in just a second. But I honestly think, and I'm not going to let the cat completely out of the bag. Our season kickoff show will be on Wednesday night, September 3rd, the day before the season officially starts, and we'll give you our division winners, our Super Bowl predictions. But I think this schedule is very much set up for Buffalo, and I know there's a couple Bills fans watching right now that are going to hate that I'm going to say this, but I think this schedule is very much set up for Buffalo to entirely roll the AFC on their way to the postseason, and then again, it's a different story there. So let's get into some best bets, and I'm going to tweak the order here a little bit. I mean, we have to have Mac go last because that's just what we do around here when we're going to best bets, which are not called best bets anymore. They're called liquid locks because they're as solid as water. So I'm going to let T start off here with his liquid locks for the AFC East in 2025.
So I think that this is going to be a year. We talked earlier about how everything with Miami is a check mark and a question mark, right? It's a wait and see thing. It's an if this then that type of situation. I think they're going to get a lot of good ifs this year. I've got Miami making the playoffs at plus 220, and I've got them over 8.5 wins at plus 175. I'm not going to say that they necessarily are challenging for the division in late December, but this is a team that's going to win 10 games. And that's going to be enough to get in the playoffs. And from there, we've seen in the past, man, we've seen anything can happen. You just get in there as long as they don't get that 1:30 Saturday afternoon date at Houston, then anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. Like they'll get their asses kicked by Houston because that is the Texans' go-to playoff spot.
Yes.
I've got two of them out of this division, and I'm going to go with the Vegas win total here. I'm going over 12.5 wins for the Bills. Again, I'm going to double down on what I just said. I think the schedule is set up for Buffalo to roll the AFC. I think they're clearly the supreme team in the division. They've topped their win total in 7 of the last 8 years, including the last 3 in a row. However, you have to go back to 1989 for the last time that the Bills exceeded their preseason victory projection 4 consecutive years, and this is from Yahoo Sports. The last time the franchise won 12 or more games in back-to-back years was 1990 and 91. That's how much I believe in Josh Allen and the layout of the schedule. My second one is another week 1 bet, as I did on Tuesday. Miami is at Indy and Danny Dimes in week 1. Since 2007, Miami's opened the season on the road 11 times. The under has cashed in their season opening road game in 10 of those 11. The consensus total right now, and I've already bet this because I didn't want the number to move, is 46.5. So I'm going to take Miami on the road in week 1 against Indy, especially with Danny Dimes. That might be one of the ugliest damn games to start the season. I'm going to take that game total in week 1 under 46.5. Now, to Radioactive Vegas Mac, let's get your scroll out because I figured out finally, now that we're almost done with these, what Mac's approach is to his liquid locks for the divisions. And he throws out so many lines in the water, he's bound to hit one of them. So what do you have for the AFC East here, Vegas Mac?
I love the Buffalo Bills. I think their schedule is soft like a Twinkie. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills, or, I like Twinkies, over 11.5 wins. Buffalo Bills, over 11.5 wins.
But he's not done.
But I'm not done. TJ, speaking of throwing my line out and catching fish, I'm going to go to the Dolphins for my second one. Oh, catch a fish. Tyreek Hill, over 950 yards for the season. Over 950. And I'm going to see your week 1 blistering eye massacre, can't watch it kind of a game. And I'm going to say that the New York Jets and, yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are already in regular season form, they've kicked 3 field goals tonight. Week 1. Week
Good
week
Lord.
1. Week
What
1.
did Chris Boswell do to you, man?
No, it's not even Boswell. That's the worst part. Hold on.
It's Better Call Saul's.
Yeah, Better Call Saul.
See, now we lost him.
I'm sorry about that. That's my fault.
That's okay.
There he goes.
Even if it's like under 14, I would still take the under, but it's not. But I'm taking the under in the Jets Pittsburgh game. The revenge game with Aaron Rodgers, if he plays. I don't know. He hasn't played at all in the preseason, so who the hell knows?
You are already in rare Steeler form. I'm interested to see, though, how Rodgers is received in New York in that week 1 matchup. And talk about an interesting, when you look at the schedules around this division, I mean, the Patriots play the Titans. You've got Aaron Rodgers back against the Jets. Like, you've got some really interesting stuff in this division this year. And I'm really interested to see how Aaron's received in New York and what kind of chip Aaron has on his shoulder against New York. Because if we know anything about Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career, and again, we got to remember this, and I'm not going to let the cat all the way out of the bag because we are going to do our season preview show here, but Aaron Rodgers has turned the ball over at quarterback via the interception less than anybody in the history of the NFL. So when you ask yourself all the batch, for lack of a better term, guys that have rolled through Pittsburgh since Ben Roethlisberger's been there, and Mike Greenberg of ESPN really went into detail on this morning. I thought he did a fantastic job. I'm interested to see the chip that Aaron plays with in week one. I'm interested to see the chemistry, if you will, of DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers in week one. And obviously that's going to go a long way for what happens with the Steelers here.
All I know, if he runs out of that stadium with an American flag, I'm turning it off.
It just is not going to be a good ending.
I heard that, but our audience didn't. Say that again.
I said, if he runs out in week one, like he did a couple of years ago with the American flag, I'm turning that thing off because I know how that story ends.
Why would you put that into the universe already? Why would you do that?
At least it won't end with Zach Wilson as your quarterback.
No, this is true. We go with, the reindeer.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed quarterback.
That's right.
All right, so plenty of stuff to come. Don't forget, Saturday at 10 a.m. on the West Coast, college football season doesn't kick off in Dublin. It kicks off right here with us as we go through our landscape of college football, give you our predictions for the major conferences, who's going to be the fly in the ointment, some Heisman, some national champions. And then next week, we'll finish our training camp tours with the North divisions, the aforementioned Steelers and the AFC North on Thursday, and the NFC North, Aaron Glenn's former home, on Tuesday, where we get to talk about TJ's favorite quarterback in the entire NFL, Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears.
Must.
Any parting words from you, TJ? I'm going to make sure Mac's microphone has time to catch back up with him here.
I'm glad I have a little bit of time so I can prepare for the discussion about overrated Caleb and how he could not even throw a ball into the net that was standing still like it was a drunk episode at Dave and Buster's. Like it was so awful. Like, oh my God. So I'm gonna cue some up for him.
Vegas Mac, do you have any parting shots here?
You know what? High school football starts this week. Go out and watch a game on Friday night.
Rather watch that than UConn freaking soccer. For everybody behind the scenes, nobody cares, Mac. And for the three guys you're staring at here, we appreciate you. Again, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, start the college football season with us right here. For TJ, for Vegas Mac, and Mike, we will talk to you Saturday